Aaron Rodgers that he's as prodigious of a passer as he is, but he's also extremely good at taking care of the ball?
He's been in it a while. Obviously, he's a Hall of Fame type quarterback. He just sees the field. He doesn't panic under the pressure. He has great pocket awareness, so he can buy himself some time. If you can buy yourself some time and keep yourself under control, you can make the right decisions all the way out throughout the play. It's when a quarterback feels rushed and feels like he needs to get rid of the ball faster than he wants to, is when all those mistakes happen. So for him, being with his pocket presence and all that, that's, in my opinion, that's why he keeps the interceptions down the way he does.
Obviously, you want to take the ball away, but is one of the designs of a defense that plays a lot of zone and that is usually good at rushing the quarterback with four guys, is that a way to sort of maximize your chances at getting takeaways?
Philosophically, I believe so. Anytime you've got 7 guys on the back end just looking at the guy with the football and 4 guys relentlessly rushing him, where they make him uncomfortable making the decisions that he doesn't want to make, but he makes them faster than he wants to make them. Anytime you've got that combination, I feel like that's where you get as many turnovers as you can possibly get. They come in bunches, as they say. So,
with your background with Matt LaFleur, when you self-scout, do you this week look for things that you think that he'll be looking for?
For every coordinator, you just look at everything they've done, and from the year, you look at the coaches on staff. They've got Nathaniel Hackett, who was with in Jacksonville. You just look at everybody, and everyone's got a personality, and it always shows up on tape. And you don't want to play the guessing game. You don't want to overthink it, because for the most part, what they do is what they do. You can't make up an entire new game plan. You're going to do what you do best, and obviously they'll have wrinkles and all that stuff. And we just got to play great, fast defense and handle all the different wrinkles they give and play sound, good football.
Do you have to, given how well you know him both as a person and as a coach, do you have to balance the idea of paralysis by overanalysis?
Exactly. So just because you know somebody doesn't, their personal life doesn't mean you know what they're actually doing in the building. You know what I'm saying? It's so you don't want to overthink. You don't want to look back at conversations you've had about football. It's not about that. It's just making sure you stay true to who you are, see them for who they are, understand that they can have wrinkles, understand what you're putting on tape so you can feel what they can possibly do to attack you. But which goes back to every week. It's no different than having played coordinators who have played our scheme many times over again. So it's you try to stay as true as possible.
I get the sense that you're trying to keep it pretty clinical, but does the personalities or does it become personal for you when you prepare for this week?
No, it really doesn't. There's an old saying, you love your family, you love your friends, you love all that, but when it comes time to competition, you can throw it all away. And it's about doing everything you can to put yourself and your team and organization in the best possible light so that we can go execute the best they can. I always joke around, my mother, God bless her, doesn't know how to play chess at all, but if she was sitting across from me, I'm going to try to get her in 3 moves. So it's that mindset. It doesn't matter who you're going against, friend, non-friend, it really doesn't matter. You're always trying to do your absolute best.
One thing I've noticed about them is that they pass more than any team but Kansas City on first and second down at a higher rate, yet their rushing efficiency is still really good. Is that, when you're looking at how they operate, does that work hand in hand? Are they passing to set up the run?
I think they do a really good job of, they've got an RPO system, so sometimes those RPOs come out as passes, we see them as runs. And so it can kind of skew the stat, I believe, the run-pass stat. But I just think they do a really good job of taking what defenses give you, reading the box, playing good, sound football. Their running game has been emerging over the last few weeks. That back is, I don't know where he came from, but he's a heck of a back, very underrated. So to answer your question, sometimes those stats can get skewed. You just got to watch the tape, see what they're doing, and see where those runs are coming from, what's the situation, time in the game, all those different things can kind of play into that.
You guys have one of the toughest 3-game stretches in NFL history coming up. Have you ever had a 3-game stretch, at least at this point in the season, where it's basically teams that are right at the top of each conference?
I don't know. It's you make a playoff run, you're going to have to see. Odds are you're probably going to have to play 3 teams of this caliber, but if you're focused on all 3 teams at once, you just got to take today first, tomorrow's next, then the next day, and you just got to stack up great days. And then when the day comes to play the game, you do your absolute best and you reset and go do it again. So I wouldn't be able to think of. I'd have to think about that question.
With Nick Bosa, the sacks aside or lack thereof, how is he doing, and how are teams getting more attention to him now?
So for Nick, I think Nick's doing a great job. You can always sometimes stats won't show up for him, but you can tell that teams are going out of their way to make sure that his stats don't show up, which means he's affecting the game, even though statistically it may not be showing up. Teams have deliberately gone out of their way to try to take him out of the game, and it's given opportunities for other guys, and that's where other people have to step up. So it's a credit to him and what he's been putting on tape, and now for him, he's got to figure out how to defeat that, because the great ones, doesn't matter what teams do, the great ones will still show up time and time again, which he has. The sack numbers aside, not worried about that. Those are kind of out of your control with regards to quarterback getting rid of it. But he's doing a good job. His run game stuff has been fantastic. He's still putting pressure on the quarterback at a very high rate, winning one-on-one. So stay the course. He's about to hit the grind of the season. Rookies going into the second half of the season is always a grind, so he's got to trigger mentally and keep rolling.
Tell a defensive end when he's getting chipped by a running back or by a tight end, that sort of thing?
Yeah, there's always teaching, and we're going over it every week with Kasarik and how to get it done and what we can do. And so every week presents a different week on how teams chip and how teams approach us, but feel like we got a good plan moving forward.
How do you make the decision with Ahkello to start him based? I mean, what's going to go into that decision given how well Moseley's played and given that Ahkello has been off for so long?
For the last, I think, 3 or 4 weeks, no, I can't tell. Everything's Groundhog's Day, but we've had a Thursday night game, then we had like 10 days off, or not 10 days off, but then we had a Monday night game, and then you go through a walkthrough last week, and so we really haven't been able to put together a string of practices. And so for Ahkello to have yesterday, today, got to go see the tape, tomorrow, to put in 3 great days of practice where it looks like he's knocking off the rust, he looks like he's got his feet under him, and he looks like he did before he got injured. Those are the decisions that coach is looking at, and I'm trying to help him out with too. So,
if he does start, do you have a quick trigger on replacing him if there is circumstance where it does look like he's a little bit rusty?
I don't know if quick trigger is a word. You never want to play that trick quick. If you make the decision, you roll with it. Now, obviously, if it gets out of hand, you have to help him somehow. But I got full faith that if Ahkello steps on the football field, he's going to do exactly what he did before he got hurt.
How well has Emmanuel played in his absence, and has he played well enough, so well that it's given you the luxury to not rush Ahkello with him?
Emmanuel's played very, very well. He's proven that he's a starter in this league, without question, which is exciting for the future and all that stuff. Does it provide a luxury? I don't know if it's a luxury as much as it is for Ahkello, like, hey, you don't have to rush out, and there's a lot of football left. So he's out there just deliberately working to get back. So he's 100%. But yeah, to answer your question on Moseley, he's played very, very good football.
To go, Kyle said it would be an internal thing if you had to make a move. Do you anticipate that would be Jeremiah Balawaga, or would you consider potentially pushing Solomon Thomas out, seeing Eric Armstead outside more? How do you approach that?
Those are all things that we'll approach later in the week once Coach makes his decision.
What's your overarching take on the slip in run defense this year? Is that something that you expected with the surge and the focus on the pass rush, or is that something that concerns you with these good rushing offenses coming out?
You know what? Sometimes, and I guess I'm looking from a biased standpoint, but from an efficiency standpoint, and I know it's going to sound crazy, but the run game is not as bad as it looks in terms of, I think McCaffrey in the second half in the blowout had a 40-yard run. Cleveland had a 40-yard run. The backs the last 2 weeks have averaged less than 4 yards a carry. I think Carson had 3.8 a carry, but the quarterback scrambles for 20. He has a couple of runs. This young kid, got out on a couple of quarterback runs, but for the most part, we were able to keep the back in check. So I look at more true conventional run game, what's happening. Our worst game by far was Thursday night. I think that kind of got away from us. But when you look at the raw numbers aren't very good. But if you look at an efficiency standpoint and are we stopping the run when they're giving it to the running back and all that stuff, I feel like it's not as off as it was in years past. But with what we are playing, yeah, I guess you would say when you have leads and stuff and you're trying to go get the quarterback, a run could sneak out on you.
What kind of impact?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, one more follow-up on that. Is the wide nine or the alignment, I know I had read that there had been some concerns that potentially there could be more rushing lanes in the middle. So when you're rearing back to get after the quarterback, have you seen any of that maybe affect some of the run defense in a negative way?
No, we've gotten hit on a couple of designer runs, like the McCaffrey run that went for 45 for a touchdown was a designer run that really attacked the perimeter of the defense. We had a couple of crack tosses that attacked the perimeter of the defense. We had a couple of draws that you're sinking in coverage and D-line's rolling. They caught us in a couple of draws, which feel good about moving forward. So they've kind of gotten us on designer runs, but when teams actually just run the football, feel really good about it. Arizona game, we got caught on a gap scheme on having the wrong fit, but things that I feel like we've got control over that we can fix. It's not, our guys aren't getting mauled, we're not gapped out, we're not unsound. It's just a matter of us knocking out the designer runs and being very, very, very disciplined in our run fits. A designer run that's just something that you just haven't seen before, and yeah, like I don't want to call it a gimmick because they're pretty cool runs, but it's just, you know, stuff. Yeah. But it's a non-traditional run that just pops up out of nowhere, and you knock it out and you move on to the next one. So.
What kind of impact has everything that Jimmie Ward's had to go through, including 4 coordinators in 4 years, all the position changes, the injuries? How much of an impact has that background had on him being who he is now, the player he is in your defense?
Jimmie, I think, whenever you go through what Jimmie's gone through, all those tough times, I believe it's going to do 2 things to you. It's either going to make you fold or it's going to make you stronger. And Jimmie's gotten nothing but stronger through all of this. He's become smarter. He's become more versatile. He's become more relentless because it's very important to him, because he understands, like, if anyone understands, it's take a guy off the field for any reason, and I promise you they'll do everything they can to get back on the field. So it's being on the field, he doesn't take it for granted. So Jimmie, in this building, there has never been a doubt the type of football player he is. It's just a matter of him being able to stay on the field. Still got a little ways to go, but I think he's showing the entire world what type of a player he is, and as long as he can stay healthy, he'll continue to do it.
Are you going to see Matt LaFleur before the game? Dinner, Saturday night or anything?
No, I'll probably see him before kickoff, but not dinner. Maybe if they came out earlier, but I guess they changed the schedule. But, all right. Thanks, everybody.